When we get to the regular board meeting, then.
Not a lot of sympathy there for.
No, but
Yeah.
see how much is given in.
Kind of present them.
Good.
Well, hello there.
Pull out one.
I'm gonna run those.
So what is there to buy that type of bill?
Right.
Here, you wanna see something bad?
There will be another meeting. Jessica Willis.
It's cold outside.
Yeah, it is.
Is done in the office.
Yeah, I had one.
I just have to make sure.
No, it isn't.
Are you looking at percentages?
Yeah.
Wait, you're not saying down.
Yeah, no.
Down. Down. Pull that up. Down. I know, well, it wasn't. Down. Down.
This might be the bad one.
Oh, double digit down.
There's gotta be one.
Well, what's this one?
Here, this one here. Okay. This is one I bought in 18. It went from 3,500 to this. But here's the deal, I want to show you.
Well, this one.
The one person that's going to show up to
This one
complain
was-
about taxes is Neil.
Which
But-
one is that?
But I
Real
mean,
nice, Neil.
on that amount of money, it's a big deal.
Oh, that's
Were you with us
part.
when Ron Deshane
Here, look at this
came
one.
No.
for Truth and Taxation?
Okay, look at this.
Well,
Oh,
and
that's
then
probably
he
some
took
difference.
off
I was going to ask what would you
It
possibly have to
wasn't
say.
anything
but-
to do with taxes, of
This is
course.
real good.
Right. But is this
That's, I think, when he
or what is
coined the
Probably.
phrase, we should have tickle pencils. I mean, what? I think you should be arrested.
Okay.
Been there, done that.
Right.
Look at this, the same amount of acres.
Careful, they'll raise the low one.
I know. I haven't said nothing. But that's all you're gonna good on?
Travis will be remote, but it's probably another.
That's James.
Okay. Okay, perfect.
So look at the township. See, look at these townships.
Clean this up one of these days.
I know.
Good Lord.
But then even in the county, that isn't a ditch.
I think.
I don't get it. I feel like I just did it in July.
I know.
Okay, so do you have one that,
See, this is 18, that's 112. Look at this.
Okay.
right, that's right.
No, it's good fun.
Do you have one that's up? Or,
No,
I mean,
the one I
that-
thought was
that
up.
one. Well, look at this. This is- Don't
Okay,
you feel
so,
almost guilty?
oh, okay, I feel guilty. Let's get this,
Yep.
the operating referendum going.
That's right. Hi, Terry. Oh, that's good.
We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Ms. Flatness, would you do a roll call, please?
Karen Flatness here, Joanne Maloney.
She will be absent this evening.
Oh, okay. Rich Mueller,
Here.
Travis Rowe.
He'll be joining us shortly.
Okay, shortly.
Yes.
Neil Schweik,
Here,
Dan Schmidt,
Here.
Rick Schultz.
Here. Purpose of this 6 o'clock meeting is the Truth and Taxation public hearing. Dr. Carlson, please.
Thank you. Tonight, we present an overview of the 2020-2021 budget and proposed 2021 property taxes in preparation for the school board to consider approval of the school tax levy in 2020 to be collected in 2021. These are the factors affecting residents' proposed property taxes, which are addressed in this PowerPoint presentation. So this is what what's going to kind of guide us through as far as the agenda for this evening. So why have a truth and taxation meeting? School districts are required to hold a truth and taxation meeting, public hearing, and two primary requirements also include tax statements being provided by the county, and then the school district holding a public hearing, which we are doing this evening. Who sets the school levy? The state legislature sets the state formula, and then also local school districts may hold voter-approved operating referendums and also building bonds that will make up the levy. The property tax is determined by the county assessor determining the market value. The Minnesota legislature sets formulas for tax capacity. The county auditor calculates tax capacity, and then the county auditor determines the tax rate needed. So for in fiscal year 2020, of all payments, this is as statewide, as far as Minnesotans made in taxes, fees, and charges, the state collected 62%. Counties, cities, and townships collected about 30%, while school districts collect about 8%. However, once intergovernmental aids are considered, the state spent only about 36% of the total, while non-school local governments spent 37%, and school districts spent about 27%. This graph shows the gap between the adjusted for pupil weight change and inflation, which you'll see in red, and the formula allowance adjusted for pupil weight change, which is in green, since 2003. So you can see the trends for both of those. So what this graph attempts to show, that really what has happened is that we, as a state, are back to an inflation-neutral position, and notice that it falls off because only 0 and 0 are forecasted in the state budget every biennium. In over 97% of all school districts, school property tax levies are higher today than in fiscal year 03. In most districts, the levy increase is large, as districts have used a combination of voter-approved property tax increases or board-authorized levy hikes to replace reductions in state aid. In 3/4 of all districts, per pupil levies more than doubled over this period. In over half of all districts, they more than tripled. So that's a little bit of an introduction of our hearing tonight, and I think we're going to transition first a little bit more into the budget, and Ms. Christopherson is going to take over.
Okay, here's the breakdown. First we'll cover revenues, then expenditures of kind of our four main funds. We usually just focus on the general fund, which is close to, I'm not sure what happened to that slide, close to about 90% of our overall budget.
Next slide.
Well,
Sorry about this.
I'm actually still on revenues. If you'll go back up, thank you.
Yeah.
The increase in budget over actual in the general fund is primarily due to the federal CARES money we've received, offset by a little bit of that decrease in state aid due to lower than expected enrollment. Food service and community service will be updated with what could be significant changes, hopefully at the next budget revision. And then debt service shows a large increase in revenue needed to make what's beginning those bond payments on the building. And we'll go down to the expenditure side. Again, we're comparing 1920 actual is the left column of numbers. Looks like the headings got out of order a little bit. To what we updated in November. So on that expenditure side, increase in expenses to operate during this pandemic, and then like I noted on the revenues, the food service and community service budgets will still need to be modified before year end. And of course that increase in debt service expense relates to the successful voter approved building referendum. So revenues to expenditures, this is just kind of a summary of what we did in November. We continue to, on that revision, show that budget, that deficit gap. You know, we just kind of, as soon as we can kind of slip into a pattern that we think we might be in to finish the year, it'll be a little bit easier to start working on closing that gap. But right now, well, you know, there's just so many unknowns that still shows there. Next up, we're just looking at some tax proposals back here. So, you know, just a couple things. I'm sure most of you in this room study your tax statements and know all of this, but, you know, we like to keep this PowerPoint out all year long so people can look at it. Those proposed kind of show the property classification and market value. You know, what often happens this time of year, you get that statement proposing your tax increases, and then you want to make an issue, but you just got to remember that when they come out in the spring with your actual tax statement, that's the time when you need to talk to the county about your values, you know, not at this time of year. So again, watch for that 2021 statement and really look through that valuation. It's kind of interesting. And that again is the time to appeal to the county values that you maybe don't agree with. Effective tax rates, NRHEG had this included in their sample and we just thought it was interesting. These are considered the class rates and are set by the legislature. They are averages because the class rates increase as the value of the property increases. It says on here, note that farm is among the lowest and commercial industrial is the highest rate. This chart shows the effective tax rate when the class rate system is applied to the market value. Even at a lower rate, increases in value translates to higher property taxes. You multiply the market value of a property by its class rate to get its net tax capacity. And then we thought this one was kind of interesting too, the different property classifications and how they make up the market, but then what their share of the net taxes equates to. So again, you can see the dramatic difference. Like again, look at commercial and industrial compared to say farms. Kind of interesting. And then just to review, I think you guys understand it pretty well now, but it's always good to review because this has been a real positive. The Ag to School tax credit was permanently enacted in 2017, scheduled to scale up. The revenue for Ag to School comes from state income, sales, and other tax revenue that helps with that offset. Again, the step up is listed on this next slide. That's what's set in law right now, so assuming nothing changes there, that's where we will be. Ag to School was part of the 2019 tax bill and the $650 billion 2017 tax bill where it was originally signed into law. Finding your Ag to School credit, just for those that don't know, it's on the proposed tax statement. Because this is paid by the state, it doesn't show up on our school district levy report, so it shows up on each individual's proposed statement with under that credit category, other credit. This credit again is a replacement of locally collected taxes paid by farm and timberland owners with payments from the state general fund. The state's general fund revenues come primarily from income and sales tax collections. This is not a shift from any other local property taxpayers to give you that credit.
So Carl, I got a question.
Yes.
On that scaling up the Ag to School,
Yes.
When that keeps increasing and kicking in, will on a farmland then, will that keep going down on the cost per acre?
Mm-hmm.
Is what you're saying?
Is what you're going to pay to the school.
Yeah.
In taxes, and that's replaced by, yeah, we're going to top out at 70% credit. And you see on, like, for example,
Yeah.
what you're looking, where those other credits are
Yeah.
listed? So it's the school portion on, buildings, you know, it's not on all of the school's levy.
Yeah, because I can see where it went down, say $25 total. And
Per?
on, yeah, this particular parcel, yeah.
Okay. Yep, and that'll keep scaling up.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, that's what we're here for. Okay, and then this is just again a review of our historical changes, and I think you know the 2019 payable 20 reflects the money needed per year now to make those building payments. That's why we saw that initial jump up. And then this year's calculations, we're not levying for anything new. It all is driven by values and formula changes that result in that 5.89% increase. Again, just to reinforce kind of possible reasons for changes to your parcel, change in value or classification, homestead drops off, for example. Change in our enrollment numbers, change in the value of the property in the district as a whole. Local decisions that you guys sometimes are asked to make right here. And then adjustments for prior years and legislative changes, like when they allowed us to do the local optional revenue. Did not have to be voter approved. So again, putting it all together, this is the breakdown of the three categories. The general fund is where the increase is happening based on, again, values, formulas, everything set outside of here. Community ed just went down just a little bit. And debt service down slightly. So nets out at 5.89. This is also all listed at you. I think you guys have in your attachments there the full 40-page report. Page 31 just kind of summarizes last year to this year. So you'll see here the total recommended school tax levy for board consideration at tonight's school board meeting. And you can read that yourself, but any other questions? Guys, you can.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Once again, we'll ask if there are any questions there to be answered by either Ms. Christopherson or Dr. Carlson this evening. If there are not any, then we would move on to entertaining a motion to adjourn the truth and taxation portion for this evening.
I'll make a motion to adjourn the truth and taxation meeting for this evening.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Mr. Schlake, seconded by Mr. Mueller to adjourn the truth and taxation meeting this evening. Ms. Flatness, please.
I have a question.
Yes.
There's a resolution, do we need to go do that?
That will
No.
be in the
Okay,
regular.
Thank you.
Yep.
It was just on here, so I was making sure I didn't miss anything.
Appreciate that.
Okay, Karen Flatness, aye. Joanne Maloney is absent. Rich Mueller,
Aye.
Travis Rao,
Aye.
Neil Schlake,
Aye.
Dan Schmidt,
Aye.
Rick Schultz.
Aye. We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
And Joanne will be gone the whole evening?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.